Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches experience powered simply by the Full Court Network. LT back in the saddle. We got another good one, but don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review if you have not. I know it's the summer, but there's no offseason in college basketball, especially with this next guest. We're excited. Really good first year at St. Joe's. We got their head man, Steve Donahue, onto the Full Court Press. Welcome, Coach.
Luke, thanks for having me. Excited to talk to you.
Yeah, awesome. I really appreciate it. Now, we said, how's your summer going? You're done practices.
Yeah, we started right after finals. We had our roster completed, and I thought it was important to get at it right away. And then, most importantly, just give the guys a break before we start school in late August. I just feel this is the best way for a lot of reasons. One being mental health and just getting away from each other, but two, also it gives us a chance as coaches to see what we have, and then we got a month to plan for what we want to do in September. So I think it's going to work out well.
Yeah, you talk about mental health. What about the mental health of your family now they have to see you more?
Well, we'll do it down on the beaches of New Jersey, so
yeah,
they can get away from me pretty easily.
Yeah, obviously really good first year. A-10 is just great basketball. Obviously, you know what, you've been around the Philadelphia area for years. I mean, shoot, Philadelphia is great for basketball. The amount of teams and programs and winning and the palestra and the history and, and then obviously pro sports too. 24-12 first year, what I guess what are you doing differently this offseason that you couldn't do or did last offseason?
Well, I think the short answer is that every season leading to another is going to be different nowadays. You got to try to retain your best players, your high character kids as much as you can, and then you're going to plan out based on that. That being said, there's certain things we want to do on both sides of the ball, but we made some pretty dramatic changes because we think we have a different type of group. For instance, we were the number one defensive team last year, but we also had the defensive player of the year in Justice Ajabo, and we don't have him now. So we're going to turn the defense to do different things. I think we have to turn people over with this group. I think we can. I think we have kids that give multiple efforts, and I think we can get in transition more. All those things, I think, are things that we thought was right for this group. That's kind of what we've done over these 8 weeks of summer.
Yeah. So obviously NIL and the transfer portal has changed how you've coached.
Yes and no. I think the business side of this, honestly, I allow my general manager to handle most of that. For a lot of reasons, I don't really talk money with players at this age. I allow the business part to be the business part, and I love being in the gym and helping kids improve and get better and try to get myself better, try to figure out how I can be a better coach. So none of that's changed. Every year is always an adjustment, and the game's evolving. I'm sure your business evolves and what you have to do differently to stay on top of your profession. All those things have always been in flux, and I enjoy coaching as much as I ever have.
Yeah. Obviously built some programs before, Penn, Cornell, especially. What are the first three things you look at or you focus on when trying to build a winning program?
That's an interesting question because I think each place is slightly different. Like Cornell, I thought it was critical that we just recruited as many basketball players that just love the game and want to play. And we had 22, 23 guys on the team. I just felt that was necessary until we got really good players. Penn has a historically really good program. I thought it was critical to get back to getting players within 2 hours of the facility, the university, where people really value Penn basketball in the Palestra. And St. Joe's has a combination of that. I think it's a rich tradition. We have incredible alumni support. Out of all the schools I've taken over, no one, in my opinion, cares more about basketball than St. Joe's. So once again, we're trying to hit 2.5 hours within our campus really hard. Get those kids that want to play in front of their families and play in the city of Philadelphia, which I consider the best big city college basketball town in America. So just trying to really play off of those things that make St. Joe's special.
Yeah, we've never heard that before. We've had many Philadelphia natives. One is Chris Gerlofson. You might know him and his father, and Philly native, coached at San Francisco. I mean, he said that multiple times to us on air and off air. So, what is Philadelphia basketball?
It's an interesting for a big city because you have the four franchise: Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, Eagles. But the Big Five is the fifth franchise. There could be a Saturday where Villanova plays at the Xfinity Center and sells it out. And then Drexel will play a Coastal game and get another 2,500, and we'll sell out, Hagen Arena with 5,000, while Temple's got 10,000 down at their place, all in the same day. They just a place that's always cared about basketball. I grew up here. My father's taking me to the Palestra for games, and it's just woven in the fabric of the sports city. And obviously Villanova doing what they've done, to me, is just really amplified what this city can do in terms of the excitement around a program. And if St. Joe's, and that's what our goal is, gets to a Final Four, you'll see the same excitement in the city supporting whatever program gets to the Final Four.
So the key is, if Villanova is playing in the national championship, or in your case, St. Joe's, okay, are Temple fans going to cheer for you?
I think the majority of the Big Five fans support all the other teams.
Okay.
I think you'll have a core group that grew up, went to school there, but majority of people never went to a Big Five school. They've just enjoyed the old doubleheaders at the Palestra. Villanova's run in 85. St. Joe's run in 2004 with Shamir Nelson. Like, all that's kind of ingrained in us. And as I said, not everyone's going to root for all of them, but the majority just love Big Five basketball and want to see us go to the NCAA tournament and make deep runs.
Yeah. So most of Philadelphia was cheering for the Knicks, then, is what you're saying.
I think we draw a line somewhere.
I'm just being honest. I mean, half of the Knicks were freaking Villanova Wildcats.
I tell you what, I was down Avalon, New Jersey this past weekend and saw more Knick jerseys than I've ever seen.
Yeah. So. Well, they probably had a fire sale to get rid of them or something like that. I live in Akron. I grew up in Toronto, so I don't really. I love the Knicks colors. I'm just not a Knicks fan. I still think they rigged the whole Patrick Ewing draft, but we won't go there. What would you say is tougher? Okay, recruiting or retainment?
I'm going to say, and I won't dodge the answer, but it's for us. I think where you're at depends. Important to how you answer that question. I think it's critical that we recruit better than everyone in our league, meaning we have to get kids that are young in high school with a great evaluation, with where you feel they'll be in a year or two. And it's got to be on mark. And we have to build our program with that. We just don't have the luxury of maybe some of the programs of you make a mistake on the front end, you'll go to the portal and pick out a couple players to help you. We can do that a little bit, but the majority of it is going to be our foundation of young high school kids who we targeted, built relationships with, honestly get a affordable, quality young basketball player to come into our program with our chance to develop them.
Yeah.
And then we understand that if we do that, like we did with Rashir Fleming, and
Oh,
develop them, they'll bypass the transfer portal, as did Jaden Glover this year, as did Austin Wilford this year,
mhm.
because we found a role that benefits them individually and it feels it's the right place to be. And
Yeah.
then each year, we're going to have that talk again. But if we don't do that on the front end, we're going to have a difficult time competing in this league.
Yeah, just those 2 guys you named coming back is huge, especially for your program and continuing to build the culture and the retainment and what have you,
Correct.
but also to compete in the A-10. I mean, I don't think people really understand because A-10 is a basketball conference,
Yep.
okay?
I'm gonna tell you, I probably fell into that trap of not understanding where it's at right now. So
Mhm.
for 5 years prior, when we were at Penn, we played most teams in the Atlantic 10. St. Joe's, obviously, LaSalle. We played George Mason. We played multiple teams. And when you looked at it, the Ivy and the A10 were around 12th, 13th conference in the country. 2 good
Mhm.
conferences. What happens now is the Atlantic 10's 7th best ranked last year in the last couple of years. And the Ivy League has faded to 18th or 19th. There's a dramatic difference in the length, athleticism, and size throughout this league. We had 19 players play in the NBA last year from 10 different programs. We
Wow.
have 3 wins in the last 2 NCAA tournaments, including 2 great wins last year. The league is, if you think about it, the Big East is 5th. We're the 7th best. And we're not getting recognized that through the analytics and most of the metrics
Mhm.
in the net, but we're that close to them. And I think if you eliminated, honestly, a couple teams from the top of the Big East, there's virtually no difference
Yeah.
in the 2 conferences.
Yeah. Who do you wanna eliminate from the Big East is what you're saying?
Well, listen, UConn is
I'm just joking.
incredible, and they're a difference, and they
Yeah.
deserve it. And
Yep.
but what my point to you is that this league here, unfortunately, the way it's done with all the conferences playing each other so much and giving very little
Yeah.
opportunities
Yep.
for A10 teams to prove their worth. I thought we proved that with our 2
Mhm.
teams last year with sounding wins in
Yep.
the NCAA tournament.
Yep. It's amazing because when I think of A-10, I think of, like, Eddie Jones. I think of Marcus Camby. I think of Lou Rowe. I think of, Lionel Simmons at the L train at, LaSalle. I mean, I can go on. I mean, I grew up on it being from Toronto. You'd get some spillover in Canada and get to watch some of those games. And obviously with the addition of, like, over the years, Dayton and St. Louis, proud basketball programs. You know, you touched on scheduling. What is your program or your assistant coach? Because you probably don't do scheduling. Maybe you do. Let alone your AD and conference doing to kind of keep A10 in a positive light when it comes to scheduling.
If there's one thing we consistently talk about, it is that, Luke, and what's the best
Yep.
thing for our league. Um, we have a lot of out of the box ideas, and I probably threw a couple out there. Um, we're thinking of ways. The the fact has to be by the time we get to league play, we have to have multiple teams in the top 50 of the net.
Mhm.
And how you get there probably most likely depends on who you are and where you're at in your
Yep.
program. But if we don't do that, we're not going to get multiple bids.
Mhm.
So for St. Joe's, it's a combination of making sure when you play quad threes and quad fours that you do a great job in beating those teams soundly.
Yep.
That's first thing. Can't lose them.
Yep.
And then when you get your opportunities for quad ones, as a program and as a league, you got to take advantage of that. Be great if they're on neutral sites because
Mhm.
you have a chance to do that now. But there was a stretch at Penn that we won 6 guarantee games in a row. It's incredible. Those days are gone.
You know
And
why you
then,
didn't win the set? You know why you didn't win the 7th? Because they wouldn't let you play it.
well, it got more difficult.
Yep.
But when we went and down, for instance, played Alabama, they would have future NBA players on that team that were freshmen and sophomores, and their team would be young, and we would come in with a veteran group, and we were better. That's not the case now. Everyone's older, experienced, and stronger. So when you get your quad ones back to your original ones, us as a league, we got to take advantage of that. So when we come into January, we have 4 top 50 teams and a handful of others knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Until that happens, the numbers aren't going to allow us to get multiple bids.
Yeah. Well, hopefully with expansion, with the 8 teams, you might be able to squeeze another one in. I mean, there's more hope for it than not. What I've always liked, and Billy Donlin, who you probably know personally and a little bit crazy in some of his opinions, but they're pretty good. Make it 96 teams and every conference gets 2 bids and for the regular season in the conference. And, you don't have to just add more Dayton sites. Shoot, add a Palestra site for a play-in game and have some fun. What I would love, and I'm going to propose it here for the first time because 2 of my favorite conferences, I'll probably piss off half our viewership and listenership, is the A10 and the Big East. I would love to see a Big East and A10 challenge. And the last 2 years, it's somewhat pseudo happened. Marquette played Dayton, home and home. DePaul is playing St. Louis, home and home. Let's keep that going. I think that would be great.
We play Villanova, hopefully, this year as well.
But I want you to play another one too. That's what I'm saying.
Obviously, we would love that as a conference. Unfortunately, the Big East will look at it. What do they have to gain from it? And kind of, I get it. But as you said, I think if you're a top 10 net team as a conference, a top 10 net conference, you should get at least 2 bids.
Yep.
And that's kind of a fair thing. I mean, that tells you the unfortunate thing with all the numbers are using this, the sample size is still very small. It's not like the NBA. Play 80 games against the same 30 teams. You really know who's better. You don't know in college basketball. And they speak of it as religion. And then that's why, there's teams that are 15 seeds that are better than the second seeds, and that's what happens. But there's no, as a conference, we can't fight that any longer. We have to do as best we can out of conference. And I think we've done that. We just have to take another step over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you look at the whole scheduling dynamic and how, for basketball purists, we just want to see games. And the NCAA tournament, if you look at their promotions, it's all Cinderella stories. I mean, they don't show Elijah Martin's dunk in Florida 2 years ago, and no offense to them, but it's crazy. But you just got to you can only control what you can control. And I think what people don't understand, how difficult it is to win. And it doesn't matter if you're in the Ivy League. It doesn't matter in the SEC, the A10, the MEAC, whatever conference. And the problem with conference championships is if you have one bad night and you're 25-10, you might not get in the NIT now.
I know. I think you bring up a lot of good points. And as I said, I think that our league is doing everything we can to showcase ourselves, and we can't worry about all the things that happen. We have to take care of our own business. All of us, all 14 teams have to do as much as we can in the non-league. And you'll see the level of basketball. It's really high.
Yeah. Well, you'll see, well, you might never hear it on air. It's starting to come on air, but I kind of like badger some of these Power 4, Power 5 coaches. Hey, why don't you play them? Why don't you play them? They're looking for dates and they just laugh at me. So I'm trying. I'm doing my part. I'm trying.
That.
Well, I mean, it's ball is ball, man. And it's just, I just love watching good games. and it's just fun. So, but we're gonna have some fun here, a little bit more relaxed. We're gonna go to the shot clock. Sam usually introduced to this. One word answers. If you've got a story, obviously not one word. Just relaxed and easy. There's no wrong and right, but it'll make you look at yourself and wonder why the hell you're with me right now. But anyway, okay. So,
Thanks.
give me one word to describe A10 basketball. If you only had one word.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I
Well,
really
we know one.
believe that. Every game, these arenas are amazing. Packed houses, great rivalries, exciting basketball. I can't tell you, every building I went in, I come out like that is such a great college atmosphere.
Yeah. Which one was which one would you say is the toughest road environment in your first year back in the A10?
Uh, I think St. Louis and VCU have it going. Uh, Played in both of those. Amazing support.
Yeah.
Incredible. On top of you, basketball only arenas, just amazing facilities.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you played at Dayton yet?
I played multiple times at Dayton over the
Yeah.
years.
Mhm.
I love that place. I
Yeah.
think it's a great place, and it's really in a lot of ways in the Midwest. It's the place for college basketball.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Biggest coaching influence and best advice ever given by another coach.
Fran O'Hanlon took me out of high school and got me into college coaching when he was assistant at Penn. Him and Fran Dunphy gave me my opportunity.
Fran
Um,
Dunphy.
and I'm going to go with the advice would be again, um, Fran O'Hanlon really pushing me to college basketball when I made no money coaching until I was 33 years old, and just his belief in me as a young coach meant the world to me and kept me on course and didn't worry about how much money I made, where I was coaching. Just thought I could get to college and be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I like that. I like that. If you could change one season in your past, which year would it be and why?
You know, it's usually a coach will tell you it's usually an injury that derails your season. And the season was before I left Penn, uh, Clark Slackert uh, severely hurt his ankle. He's leading the league in scoring, and it just derailed our season. It was his last chance as a senior at Penn as well. Um, we had beaten Villanova that year. We're 8-5 with a real hard schedule, and it just derailed all of our hopes. And I think all coaches have those kind of seasons and typically it's an injury, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, that's the truth right there. All right, favorite road arena anywhere, favorite road environment or arena anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the A10, just anywhere in your past where you've coached in.
Hmm. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite place as a coach because I got my butt whipped, but I was amazed at Purdue and Mackey. Like,
Mhm.
holy cow! Like on top of you, almost looking down at you. Um, 45 minutes before the game, standing and cheering. What a amazing facility.
Mhm.
Um, I've been in a lot of them. I've been in Fog Allen was awesome.
Yep.
Cameron, awesome. Palestra, incredible.
Yep.
But that jumped out at me because I don't hear people talk about that place enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I've yet to come to the Palestra. They need to increase or increase the quality of their bathrooms for me to attend a game at Palestra, but we'll work.
They
I've
need
heard the
to,
locker rooms are pretty nice too.
yeah, they need some upgrades there, unfortunately. But the Bones are great. It's
Yeah.
celebrating 100 years and
Oh, absolutely.
amazing place to watch a game.
Yeah. Give me most memorable fan interaction.
Hmm. I'm going to go back to Fog Allen here. When we're at Cornell, 2010. We're up with 1 point. They're number one in the country. We're up with one with 45 seconds to go and lose by 4 down the stretch. And Very disappointing. But as we walked off, there was a blizzard outside. I remember that. It was January. Place is packed. And they gave our team a standing ovation. And I thought it was amazing. And just all of our players and just encouraged and were so appreciative of the effort that we gave that game against Kansas. And that's always stuck in me is I kind of remember looking up and that feeling that we all had that day.
Yeah, yeah. We've Sam and I have both been Jayhawk fans just because of our backgrounds and stuff, and we've been to many games at Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, you want to talk about basketball fans. So did you get the Rock, Chalk,
Oh, yeah.
Jay? How much time left? If it was close, they probably didn't do it for.
It's like I thought it was post game that
Oh,
they
that's
did it.
impressive. That never. I've seen it where they've done it with like 3 minutes to
Yeah.
go.
It was like typically when you're number one ranked and you feel the tightness of the building,
Yeah,
that wasn't the vibe I got. I felt they were just so excited for a great game in January,
yeah,
and there wasn't that anxiety that they may lose,
yeah,
which
yeah.
it was amazing. It was just an incredible basketball environment that I think when we get together, the players and the coaches from that team, and I think we went to the Sweet 16 that year and
Yeah.
had great memories. We all think of that game as one of the most special of
Yeah.
that season.
Yeah, that's why I hate neutral site games because you lose that luster of these. Like I'm sick of, Sam's like, oh, we should go see this. I'm like, I'm not going to watch a college basketball game at Madison Square Gardens. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yep. It's like let's play some home games and let's have some fun, win or lose,
Yeah.
and it's just great. All right, two quick more questions. All right, give me your funniest recruiting story. I know you've got some. Every coach has some skeletons and funny stories.
Funny coaching stories
That you can just say. I mean, we've heard everything from plugging toilets at recruits' house, going to wrong cities, eating bad chili, aka Josh shirts, killing fish.
I'm gonna give you one. It's because it's a funny and it's a recruiting story. But when we were at Cornell, Zach Spiker was on the road.
Oh, Zach Spiker.
And I got a call, and I was Army job was open, so I called the AD, and I said, "Listen, my system would be great." He basically said, "Listen, we're deep down the road. We're literally at O'Hare Airport, and we're interviewing candidates now." And I said, ironically, I said, "Listen, Zach's happens to be in Chicago. He'll come over there. I'll send him over right now." He goes, "Sure, send him over." So of course Zach's in like a red polo and khakis, and he runs to O'Hare and he sees a bunch of guys leaving with suits, and there's a list of candidates, and then he walks in and says something to the effect of like, "Hey, somebody order a pizza? I got it here for you," and sat down in front of the committee and just blew him away with his interview and got the job. No prep, where all these other things, it's so hard to get a job. But Zach ran in there with his polo, little sweaty from running, and just wowed the committee and got the job.
Yeah, but did he get the recruit?
Yeah, that's something I had to take care of course, because he was gone.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a good one. All right, last question, Coach.
Yep.
If they made a Hollywood movie about your life, okay, what would the title be? Who would play you? And what would the theme song be?
How about Sean Penn?
Ooh, I like that.
From some of his other things where he struggled. I think all coaches feel this way. Like the movie would be about, I sold paint for 10 years. I'm 30, in my 30s, I have 2 kids, still haven't had a salary from coaching basketball. I'm probably not unique in that. And then
it sounds like the Coach Paul
like
Mills
Tom
story.
Petty.
Yeah.
Only the losers figure something out, whatever that song is, and we figure it out. And because like you try to tell, like I try to tell my own kids that you just can't chase dreams, but you got to figure out something you're good at and and get to that because when you're good at something, most likely you like waking up and getting better at it. And I think
Mhm.
that for me, that was basketball, and that would be the movie, and uh, probably wouldn't be. It would be go right to video. It wouldn't be
Beta. It'd go right to
beta,
beta.
and like my family would buy it. That's about
Yeah.
it.
No, you'd probably have to give it to him. No offense. It's like the book. Oh, I sold 1,000 books, but I gave away 1,200. But Coach, we really appreciate it. The last question I'm going to ask you is: we're excited for St. Joe's basketball, but how excited should the boosters, the alumni, and fans of St. Joe's Hawks be excited for this year on the hardwood?
I think very excited. I think Billy Lang built this program with two 20-win seasons. Um, we continued to build on that and the culture he built. Um, and now we retained two of the best two-way players in the league in Austin Wilford and Jaden Glover, a really good guard in Kafik Myers, brought in a 4-year basic starter at Davidson and Sean Logan.
Mhm.
And then I feel like the rest of the roster has been built to really help complement those guys. And we're excited about what we have this year and hope to build on what we've done, as I said, over the last 3 years.
Yeah, yeah, and I wasn't going to ask you how difficult you think the A10 is going to be because you don't know any of the rosters. It's like when we asked Fran Dunphy about his roster, he said, "Hold on." He turned around and got a card, his roster card, to see who's on his team. So I'm not going to ask you that. At least you know who's on your team. You're one ahead of Fran Dunphy on that one. But you, I mean, the A10 is going to be good again. It's going to be
It's,
competitive.
yeah, I have glanced at the rosters, and we've retained some really good players. And I think the balance of the league, that, as I said, I think there's going to be a handful of teams that could get top 50 in the net, and then
Mhm.
let's see what happens in league play.
Yeah, and good coaches. We don't talk this enough. There's really good players in the A10, but even just as much, there's really good coaches. So, Coach, you're going to stick on with us for one more second as we upload, but we really appreciate it. Check out the St. Joseph's Hawks, Coach Donahue, and we really appreciate it. We'll be back hopefully next week. Another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.